Okay, so we're going to go over a backing track setup, what you'll need to run your backing tracks, and how to set all that up so that your backing tracks will run properly. So what you need is everything shown here, part of a musician's balanced, nutritious breakfast. So first thing I guess you should have is some sort of sound source with which to run your tracks. We're going to use a tablet. We're going to start with that tablet off for training purposes. You don't have to, you can have it turned on. Please have a mixer, and please remember to plug a power cord into that mixer so that you will actually have power. We've done that ahead of time, so there's that. You will also need a stereo breakout cable. That's going to have an 1/8" end to come out of your tablet or sound source. Could be phone, laptop, whatever you need. And then that breaks into 2 1/4" ends, red for right channel, that's our click, and black or gray for your left channel, that's our music, our tracks. You will need a DI. You will also need an XLR cable. Usually at a show, the sound tech will provide this for you. There's going to be male end, female end. The female end will go to our DI. The male end will go towards, well, if it's at a show, that'll go to your sound tech, and he or she will know where to put that into their soundboard. If you're running your rehearsals, then you're going to want to run this XLR from your DI back to the mixer that you're using for your rehearsals, and to the appropriate channel, whatever your band needs. Also, these two are more or less optional, but I highly recommend them. This is a headphone extender cable, so the 1/4" end will go into our mixer, and then the 1/8" female end will be for your in-ears to plug into, or your headphones. And this here is a 1/4" patch cable. It's basically got 2 1/4" male ends. It's going to, for our purposes, it's going to go from the DI back to our mixer so that we can have control over the level of our music or our tracks. So those are the pieces that we need, and let's go over how to actually set them up. So we are going to start, in this case, with our tablet, which right now we're going to start with the tablet off. You don't have to do that. You can have it powered up, whatever sound source you're using. Make sure that it's fully charged, or if it's going to be sitting there a long time, maybe you have to set it up at line check and your band's not going on for quite a while. You'll probably want to just plug your tablet or your sound source in so that basically you just don't want to lose power when you're in the middle of a show. That's a bad thing. So we're going to start with this tablet, which has a handy little kickstand on it. And again, we're starting with this tablet off, but you don't have to. The most important thing is when you're plugging cables in and taking them out, make sure that the channel for the tracks is muted. So if you're at a show, that means check with your sound tech and make sure that you're okay to do all that stuff. If you're at a rehearsal with your bandmates, since you'll be busy with all of this stuff, just check with them and see if the channel on the mixer that you're going to use for tracks is muted. So the first thing after your sound source is set up that you're going to want to do is take your stereo breakout cable, and we're going to basically split the audio signal that's coming out of your tablet here. So we're going to go into your headphone jack with the 1/8" male end, and that's going to bring the stereo sound out of your tablet and run it to these 2 sources. Right is red for click, black or gray is the left channel for tracks for music. So we're going to run the red side, the right side, directly into the drummer's mixer. So I always choose channel 2 for various reasons. It doesn't really matter too much which channel you choose, as long as you choose one that you'll remember and that you have control over. So we're going to do 2 for tracks. We're going to take, 2 for click. We're going to take our track side and run that to the DI. So there's a little input here for a 1/4". I'm going to go underneath the power cable so we don't get too tangled up. And now you've got your sound coming out of your tablet via this cable, and you're splitting the right channel directly to your mixer, so you're the only one who'll be able to hear the click. And you're splitting the left side, the music, to the DI, and we can run that back to ourselves using this. I highly recommend it. It gives you direct control over the volume of the tracks in your in-ears or headphones. So we're going to run this through the through input here, or output, I guess. in this case. And we're going to run the other end into channel 3 so that we have our click and our tracks right next to each other. Since this is a mono track at this point, you go ahead and plug it into the mono or left channel on the third channel. So that gets our signal routed correctly. And then the next thing you want to do is make sure that you have an XLR. This male end is going to go to the mixer or the front of house sound tech, and the female end is what we're going to run out of our DI so that this will actually have signal when it's plugged into the mixer. So take the female end and plug it in to your DI box and situate it so it's not going to get in the way and also not going to be crimped or pinched in weird ways. And then we're going to run this for a rehearsal. Just run this back to the mixer for the rehearsal room, whatever channel you decide to use. And for a show, the front of the house sound tech will know exactly where to route this. So if they don't already have it set up, just remind them that they're going to want to have that to be able to hear the music coming through from the tracks. Next piece that we're going to do is our headphone extension cable. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I highly recommend it. It gives you some wiggle room if you are moving around the kit a lot. A lot of headphones or in-ear headphones have a shorter cable, and that kind of limits your range of motion. You never want to be in danger of unplugging your headphones or in-ears from your mixer. So this particular cable, I go a little bit overboard. This is about a 25-foot cable, but whatever you think will give you enough room to move around. So we're going to put the 1/4-inch male end into our headphone jack, and this 1/8-inch female end is going to be perfect for my in-ears because it's got the 1/8-inch end. If you have a different setup for your headphones or in-ears, then you can get adapters, whatever you need, but this is going to give us the ability to hear all the stuff we hooked up here. So that's how you set up your backing tracks. All right, now that we're all set up and everything's routed correctly, I'm going to go ahead and power on our tablet. So here we go. And again, you don't have to start with the power off, but I like to get everything routed correctly first and then worry about this part. So for our purposes, I'll be running the backing tracks just through iTunes, but you can really use whatever audio program you're most comfortable with. So once we're up and running, we can open up iTunes and find our tracks. And I like to have the full screen. So I usually make a playlist for myself for whatever show or rehearsal is being run. And once you find your playlist, we're going to use Stolen Identities for now. This, I think, is a better way to do it than just fishing for your tracks in a main music library. There might be other stuff in there. It's really up to you how you set up your sound source, but I like to have a playlist for whatever show or rehearsal I'm running. So now we're ready for that. Now let's make sure that we have our mixer ready. So first thing, we're going to power this on. And then we're going to basically adjust all the volume levels. So for me, I usually set the master right about here. The headphones, since I'll be using the headphone mix, I put that just a little above the middle. And of course, for the channels that we're using. Now, click can come in hot sometimes, meaning a lot of signal. So on these particular mixers, I like to use a pad for that, which is this pad button right here. That basically reduces your incoming signal so that it won't clip or distort, and then it's much easier to control your volume. So the first thing you want to go to for this channel is your gain, and I usually just put it right about here, and that will basically be your incoming signal volume, and then you can adjust the volume level based on that. So I usually put the click pretty hot in my ears just so that I don't lose track of it. Of course, if there's a lot of click on the track, you can adjust that as needed. And then of course we had put our tracks into channel 3. So channel 3 is right here. And I usually like my tracks up just a bit past the middle. And it's really up to you, whatever mix you desire. You can adjust levels as needed. So once you have all that set, then you can run a track and check your sound levels and mix them to your liking.